not gonna lie to you. Um, I may be a little bit biased on this one. As you can probably guess from these three posters always above the TV, I'm a bit of a Mario fan. So I'm just gonna say I'm reviewing this movie as someone who is a big fan of Mario. I'm not gonna pretend I'm not biased. I'm gonna be very clear that I like this because of how much I fucking love Mario. Now, this was probably my favorite theater experience of the year so far, and most of that is for personal reasons. See, a lot of my college friends are really big Nintendo fans as well, and I don't like that it's become so hard to get people to see non-IP driven films. If I try to get someone to see an original movie that they haven't heard and seen a ton of marketing for, or they're not already familiar with somehow, it's like trying to pull teeth out of their mouth. But a lot of my friends like Mario, and I said, hey, do you guys want to get together and watch this? And a bunch of them said yes. I got like almost all of my college group together. They drove from halfway across the state. Several of them drove 2, 3 hours to see this. And we all had a great day together. We got food. I've been out of college for I think 4 years now. So it's cool that I can still have these situations that allow me to get together with my friends and hang out. And this film was a vehicle for me to do that, and that plays into why I like it. Now, one thing that's a bit confusing to me is I have seen a lot of people say this was a step down from the first film. I don't really agree with that. I think the first Mario Galaxy was pretty on par with this one. I agree with the criticisms that it's very breakneck pace. It's very video game logically. It's kind of like jumping from set piece to set piece rather than digging into our characters and developing a story. And I would agree that storytelling is the heart of cinema, but the heart of a video game, and especially the heart of Mario, is the idea of play. And I feel like these movies capture the joy of play. They are just an excuse to hop from set piece to set piece, but that's what it does, and it does it really well. And it does it in a really colorful, beautiful way. It's very saturated, it's very awesome looking. And in terms of character and story, I actually thought the second one was a step up from the first one. I really don't know how people are saying the opposite. Bowser and Bowser Jr. have clear character arcs here. Maybe they're a bit cliche. The Mario Brothers bond a bit more. They're actually spending time together, not isolated. We don't have the whole movie just, Mario meeting people. He's actually an active protagonist in this one. Peach has a bit of a thing with Rosalina. I understand the complaints about Rosalina. She's kind of locked away for much of the movie. She doesn't really get a whole lot of time to do stuff. So I understand if you're a really big Rosalina fan, that would be a bit of a bummer. Some of my friends didn't like it because it's not just Mario Galaxy's story retold. I think that's an issue with the title. I love Mario Galaxy's story. I've 200%ed it, 201%ed it, whatever a full complete is. I've 100%ed every single game that has a poster right here. Mario Galaxy's story works for Mario Galaxy. I didn't necessarily need to see it repeated on the big screen. I just wanted to see our characters, see lots of Easter eggs and have fun with them, and that's exactly what we get. I'm not gonna lie to you, ever since I was a little kid playing Smash Bros. Brawl with my dad and sister, I was infatuated with the Subspace Emissary in that. It was kind of this single or two-player campaign mode within Brawl, but it had these cutscenes with all of these Nintendo characters, and it told these little silent films full of visual comedy. And I just gave an excuse to have all these Nintendo characters connect. It was this big crossover. This was before anything like the MCU had really started to take off into what it is now. A kind of crossover on this scale with video game characters that just blew my mind. And I loved that so much. I was deeply disappointed when the later games didn't continue that idea. And ever since I was a kid, I just wanted to see a full movie scale project with these characters on the big screen. And I can't lie, now that Illumination has done it with two films, I've just had the biggest grin on my face the whole time watching both of these. I could not hate these films if you paid me to. Without spoiling too much, there are some references to video games outside of Mario, other Nintendo properties, and a lot of them are done in really stylized ways. There's actually a whole sequence in this that's animated in a completely different style. I was a really big fan of Yoshi's character, particularly how they introduced him. He's kind of characterized as like a urban youth, like from street culture or something. that kind of weirdly fits for Yoshi in my mind. I don't know. I thought it was funny and entertaining. And I also really liked how this ends with kind of a montage that I thought was really well done and funny. And the ending actually kind of calls back to something, and there actually are consequences for our actions earlier in the film. Something a lot of movies like this kind of break past and just say, oh, everything was fixed, even if we didn't see it get fixed. No, this film remembers when stuff is broken, which I actually really like. There's a couple different planets we go to. There's a lot of scenes that are stylized like the video games. If you're looking for Easter eggs, there are millions here. The music I was really happy about because they actually use a lot of Nintendo music. There's not as many needle drops that are just like 80s pop synth sounds like the first one used. It feels more decidedly Mario in its score, which I really like. I had a great time with this. I love the colors. I love the set piece. I just love seeing these guys on the big screen, and I loved hanging out with my friends. I actually thought this was an improvement over the first one in most respects, though it's about the same tier for me. I gave Super Mario Galaxy Movie a 5 out of 6.
5 out of 6.